Right, and we come full circle straight back to the performance of the Kenyan flower industry. Ngige is the CEO of the Kenyan Flower Council. She's live with us in studio tonight to look at the performance of the sector over the last couple of years. Mrs. Ngige, pleasure to have you as always. Let's look at the performance data from 2010. Output has grown by less than 1.5% year on year ever since then. What explains this trend? Have we plateaued and peaked in terms of output perhaps?
Actually, the plateau has lasted about 4 years, and there are 4 main reasons for this. Number one is the cost of production has really escalated, and number two, the Kenya shilling remains strong so that the benefit of exchange rate doesn't benefit the growers. And number three is that the European Union, and as you know, which is our main market, has been under some economic pressure and has not been buying as well as they have been doing in the past. But the main reason why the industry has not expanded is anxiety created by the non-conclusion of the economic partnership agreement between Kenya, or between East Africa and the European Union. East Africa is a custom union here. But thankfully today we learned that because the president realizes the seriousness of this problem to the industry and to the impact on the economy, he's personally going to take charge of these negotiations to see that we conclude them on time.
Indeed. Let's look at another element of the challenges that the industry faces. According to the HCDA report of 2012, why is it that flower farmers import the planting material here in Kenya when we've got top-notch agricultural research bodies like CARI, for example?
Flowers are like fashion. A lot of research goes into this, and the designers who are the breeders come out with what the market wants in terms of colors, in terms of the kind of flowers as well. So it is really a fashion-related product that has to go with very discerning consumers.
Indeed. Let's look at the taxation issues as well. Last year, of course, we saw the value-added tax bill of 2013 coming into force. How has that affected the flower industry as a whole?
Well, it means that the cost of production has gone up, and this is going to affect the cash flow. It is already affecting the cash flow, despite the fact that we will get the VAT refunds back, but this takes a long time. And as we know, the refunds have accumulated over the years to the tune of about 19 billion already owed to the industry. And this is affecting the cash flow and therefore the performance of the industry.
Indeed. We've also seen the Association of Manufacturers raising the red flag about a series of arbitrary taxes that county governments have brought up, especially after the establishment last year. Is the flower industry facing similar challenges?
This is affecting the entire private sector, and it's something that we have agreed to take up as a collective under the Kenya Private Sector Alliance as well, but also as individual business management organizations.
Indeed. Let's get back to something you touched on a little earlier, trade barriers between Kenya and the EU. Last year, the EU threatened to ban the importation of South African oranges due to violations of phytosanitary standards. Now, to what extent is this also a barrier to doing business for you as the flower growers in Kenya?
Well, we don't see the phytosanitary requirements as a barrier, rather as a necessary evil. We do need to make sure that we protect our environments on both sides of the divide, and that is the purpose of the phytosanitary certificate, to make sure that we are only exporting flowers and not flowers and bugs.
Indeed, flowers and bugs right there. But finally, Mrs. Ngige, earlier this week we did see a South African-based private equity firm, AgriV, investing about $5 million into a flower grower in Kenya, the Kariki Group. Off the back of that deal, will you as a Kenyan Flower Council aggressively market the sector as a potential avenue for more private equity investment?
It does look from the information that we receive that there is a projected growth in global demand. Actually, we have the figures of about 5% year on year for the next 5 years. So I do believe that the business people are looking at this as an opportunity, and we as the Kenya Flower Council will share whatever information is necessary for them to take a piece of this pie.
Indeed. Thank you very much for your time this evening, Mrs. Ngige there, the Chief Executive of the Kenyan Flower Council, in studio with us tonight.